Welcome to our lesson 2, the Copy Editor's Toolkit, Proofreading marks and outstyle. So we'll be looking at some basic and fundamental tools that every copy editor uses. Proofreading marks, the outstyle rules, the set expectations, and by the end of today's lesson, you will understand how editors communicate changes quickly and consistently. If you want to connect with me, this is how to connect with me. Scan the QR code and we will be connected professionally. All right, this is it if you're unable to scan the previous code. But first, let's start with a quick question, like I would always ask. Scan the QR code or screenshot it, and then click on the QR code for you to access the form. While you are doing that, what do you think a copy editor actually does? Think about this. Have you ever marked someone else's writing before? What symbols did you use to communicate corrections or insertions? These are some of the things that a copy editor have in mind when they are reading people's work or doing their job. And that is the work of the copy editor. What we'll cover again today is I be able, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify and interpret the standard proofreading marks. You should be able to explain the purpose of our style in book publishing. For example, the use of email and email, the E without an hyphen for mail and the one with an hyphen. You should be able to explain both of them. And then we should be able to apply standard copy editing symbols to correct a raw text manually. Now, the tools of the trade. Every professional needs a tool. Just like a carpenter has an hammer, a copy editor uses proofreading marks and our style guide to guide your work. The carpenter uses hammer, chisels. The plumber uses cutter, glues, burner, and more. But the copy editor uses professional marks, intellectual ability to be able to process and to also see from the end user's perspective. Why much of today's editing happens digitally, which we will cover in the production phase of this course, the foundational language of editing remains rooted in these traditional tools, traditional, proofreading marks, styles, and approach. What are proofreading marks? The sign that we use are pre-computer. So before computer, editors corrected physical papers. And in order for them to correct and not mess up the sheet, they use certain signs and symbols. They do this to avoid cluttering the margins with long explanation. The industry developed a standard set of symbols to help them do this. What are these universal symbols that we're talking about? These marks are help us to tell the authors, the typesetter, exactly what it needs to do, what needs to be changed, what needs to be replaced, what needs to be improved. And with this, they are able to communicate effectively. The insertions, the correct mark. This correct mark shows exactly where a missing letter is. You see that arrow facing up? So wherever there is a missing letter, they make that insertion. For instance, if I were to make a correction that it should add a word in between this two. Let's say we want to change this letter, the A in this exactly. I can just change it like this and then add this, and then you write the replacement letter at the top of it. You understand? Using this sign, the sign of insertion. I hope that helps you. Okay, moving on, we have the deletion sign. Well, in this case, a strike through with surface is as simple as just striking through a text while they are still able to read it. It is important that we are able to, um, erase and be able to, see what we are done. So I'm just erasing this up so you can see clearly. So if you want to be able to erase, you're just all you need to do is to strike through. The typesetter does what to do with that. For example, I want to remove this here. Let's give an example of a case of where we have you walk to school. You walk to school. Or we want to remove, instead of saying remove this, you can just say just strike through. When you strike through once, and that is enough. Want to strike through end, you strike through like this. That is how to go about it. And let's take it a step further. You remember again insertion. Let's say you wanted to add something. Let's say removed. How do you insert removed? What you need to do is to create your correct sign under, and then you put the letter D above it. And then they know remove will become removed. So that is how to go about this. Now, the next sign I would like to share with you is the capitalization. How do we capitalize? How do we capitalize? For typography, 3 lines under a letter means make it uppercase. A wavy line underneath a word means make it bold. Meaning, if I have something written and I put this line under it, it means you should make this uppercase. Let's say, for instance, I say underneath and I have 3 lines. What it means is that you should make underneath all uppercase. And if I needed to make it bold, when I have a wavy line like this, the wavy line goes like this. No, just like in the form of wave. That means that it should be bold. Don't forget this. These are key things that you shouldn't forget. You will be assessed based on these things. Okay, and then we have the spacing mark, which is either a hash or sort of insert or close up mark. You can insert or close up spaces using signs like, using something like this. You can use to close off space between things, or you can use hash, meaning insert or close up space. For example, if I have this word like demand, let's say we have demand all together, and I put in a strike here, it means you should separate this. Or I put in a hash sign, it also means you should separate this. So that is some of the things you need to know. Okay, if you need to read more about the signs and symbols, make a request for the monograph copy, and that will help you understand it better. To the next slide, the house style. Now, house style is a publisher's internal mechanism of keeping the rules. Internal rule book. Call it a rule book. Call it a rule book. Now, language is fluid, and is it email or email? Is it color or color? Should we spell it out as 10 or write it out as 10? These are concerns that are to be treated by the house style or house guide. Now, often multiple ways of grammatically correct syntax exist, but a house style specifies the set of rules adopted by a publishing company to ensure that there is consistency across all of their books. So, if you're publishing, as a publisher, if you position yourself and you choose to use British English, expect to use British spellings as the standard of edit. And if it's If it is the case of numbers using 10 or spelling it out as 1 and 0 like a figure, it's will be spelled out on the it will be spelled out on the in the out style. And for capitalization, the rules for capitalization is the initial caps, is the sentence case for headings, headers, and more. So our style sort of help us prevent inconsistency across publishers' works. Now, the big manuals. Most publishers adopt a major industry manual, and these manuals reference styles that have been accepted and widely acknowledged. For example, we have the APA style, which I've earlier referred to as one of the style that we use in communication in social sciences. And a publisher can decide to choose and stick to a style for all of their publications, or they can as well they adapt for each discipline depending of what they consider as best practice. They could create a shortcut list for their own unique house exemptions and more, and this help maintain consistency. These are some of those key toolkits that they use. Now, let's do some demonstrations. If you're doing a live session, we could as well do this right now. This is not a live session, but this is an example of what I would do. Have a look. Let's look at what we apply to this sentence. A quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. A quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Now, the markup process will be look out for the capitalization. The D is the beginning of the sentence. It should be capitalized. The T in the D should be capitalized. And if you look at it, the quick brown fox jumped. If you look at the word jumped, there is a missing letter there, and that letter is letter E. So you need a correct sign in between P and D to make a jump without E into be to have an E, write an E above it, meaning that it will change from JUMPD to JUMPED when you use the correct sign and you put the E above it. Now look at the dog. The dog is in capital letter. It should be in small letter. So a diagonal line, that is a slant line like this, I'll just put that on your screen so you have a feel of it. If I have a slant line like this, it means it should become a lowercase. So the correct form would be the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Now, this is a task for you. Grab a pen and a piece of paper. Grab a pen and a piece of paper. Write down the short error-free paragraph below exactly as it is. Then use the standard proofreading mark from our core concepts. The markup the text to fix the spelling, capitalization, punctuations, and more. Now, if you notice there, this is an American spelling instead of British spelling. So, however, focus on this. This is a text for you to work. Write it out in your notes and try to correct it. Look out for the common issues. Look out for capital letters, name of places, proper nouns, the commas, misspelling. Let's spend some time on this. Are you reading? Are you writing? If you're not writing, you're not learning. Once you have been able to do this correctly, type it out and put it in the comment box. Type it out and put it in the comment box. The University of Lagos is one of the most prestigious institutions in Nigeria. It was founded in 1962. No, many notable alumni have graduated from there, including doctors, lawyers, and engineers. Okay, figure out the errors. I'll tell you the first one. The first one is right at the very beginning. Is the word D, similar to what we corrected in our example. The T there in the D should start with a capital letter. Figure out the rest. Should university be in small case or uppercase? How about Lagos, small case or uppercase? Think about this. Take your time. Now, if you've done that, you figured it out, type it out correctly, and put it in the chat. Thank you. Now, look at this. Let's reflect. You can head over to our Telegram group to answer this. Language has many gray areas. For example, the use of Oxford comma, the comma before and in a list. You know, when you are making a list of things, there is this Oxford comma. So, for example, why do you think it is important for publishing house to pick one specific house style and stick to it, rather than letting each other decide for others? I want you to think critically here. If every author chooses their own punctuation, spelling rules, what problem will occur? Put it in the chat right now. Put it in the chat. Expect confusion, expect inconsistency. But what do you think for yourself? I'm looking out for answers about clarity, about professionalism, about reader's trust. So I need you to be able to answer this question in a particular way and in a particular order so that you have some level of clarity in your own presentation. Get onto the Telegram channel now and share what you learned. If every author chooses their own punctuations and spelling rules, what problem will occur? All right, thank you. If you have done that, you have actually marked yourself in. This is a QR code for you now to ask questions. Please go ahead to ask me questions. Is there any part of this lecture that is unclear where you need better clarification? Scan the QR code, screenshot it, use your Google Lens to scan it after screenshotting it, or even click on it directly. And you can look out for the description to see if you can find the link there. However, you must have gotten to this point before you can mark attendance. All right, let's take some quiz. You have the Google form now. Attempt this too. What does this sign means? The caret signs. The answer is to insert a word or punctuation mark. The major manual style that is considered the gold standard for general book publishing. What is it? The answer is Chicago manual style. Right on. Take your time. I will encourage you to complete this step if you haven't. All right. Thank you for doing that. Now, let's attempt this question. What is the primary advantage of using standard proofreading marks on manuscripts? Is it that they allow the editor to rewrite the author's plot points secretly? Or B, they communicate corrections quickly and clearly without cluttering the page with long sentences? Or C, they are only understood by the author, keeping the edit private? Or D, they automatically format the document for the editor's printer? Think about this. What will be the answer? Take your time. The correct answer would be B. They communicate corrections quickly and clearly without cluttering the page. Now, I want you to think about this. It reinforces efficiency and clarity. It allows you to avoid long notes and it is helpful in editing large manuscripts. All right, let's move on to my set of other questions. If an editor draws a correct sign, which is the angle facing up, sharp angle facing up, in the middle of a sentence, are they trying to say to the typesetter or to the author? Does it mean that they should delete a word or they should capitalize the next letter or insert missing letter or start a new paragraph? By now, you should know. The correct answer would be to insert a missing letter or word or punctuation. Okay, now let's attempt about two more questions or three. Why do publishing house adopt a specific art style? Why? Is it to indicate the architectural design of their physical bookstores or to ensure strict grammatical or stylistic consistency across all the books they publish, or to force authors to change their personal writing voice, or to limit the numbers of book they can publish each year? Which are which of this is your answer? Your guess will be as good as mine. It will be B, which is to ensure strict grammatical and stylistic consistency across all the book they publish. This is very important to ensure that there is standard. Now, which major manual is widely considered the industry standard for general fiction and non-fiction book publishing? This is an exam standard question. Is it APA? Is it AP, Assisted Press? Is it MLA? Is it CMOS? CMOS is Chicago Manual Style. The answer is CMOS because it is the most widely used in book publishing, in academia, in humanities for comparison. Now let's attempt this before we move on. An editor noticed that an author writes email in one chapter and mail in chapter 2. The mail in chapter 3, capital letter E now. Now, which of the four C's of copy editing is the author violating? Is it 1, correctness, B, consistency, C, clarity, or D, coherency? Consistency. That is the correct answer. Email. It should be consistent. There should be a standard. Is it that it is without an iPhone or throughout, or with an iPhone throughout, or capital letter throughout? The standard usually is without an iPhone, small letter, to ensure that it doesn't violate our style. Don't forget, you have a practical exercise which I've shared with you. Are you done with this? Work it out. If you are done with that, let's take another question. Why an acquisition editor focus on the big picture, the copy and the marketability of a book? What is the primary focus of the copy editor? Remember, we've done this before. They focus on the mechanics of the sentence and the line by line to ensure that they have some level of control over what they are teaching and what they're doing. Now, a quick one and the last one. In the context of book publishing, what does house style refer to? What does it mean? Is it a specific guideline like Kappa, Chicago, publisher uses punctuation, capitalization in formatting, or is an architectural design of publishing companies' main office, for publishing companies of main office, or a specific genre of books a publisher is known for producing, or the unique personal writing style of the author? Well, the correct answer is A. Specific guideline a publisher uses for punctuations, capitalizations, and formatting. Okay, thank you for doing this. And I have something for you, an assignment. Now, it's time to take your first major mock sort of manuscript exercise. Below is a 150 word raw one. Yeah, you look at it, read it from your screen, and then, you can copy, you can type out the word, or you can solve it directly. Apply the standard proofreading marks to correct the grammar syntax. Try to insert it. And if you have been able to do that, that will be really appreciated. And it will really help you to understand more about your works. And if you can post it as a comment, that will be really acknowledged and appreciated. Do that, you get a feedback from me. Today we have some unsung heroes that we've learned about, and they should be remembered each time you read a finished work. So to wrap up today's session, remember that a copy editor efficiency relies heavily on their toolkits. It relies heavily on their ability to apply certain knowledge, certain principles, certain standard to their work. And then they use proofreading map to ensure that they communicate effectively and efficiently. So, proofreading marks serve as a standard universal shorthand language that allows editors to communicate with typesetters. They even communicate complex corrections such as insertion, deletion, formatting without cluttering the page. I found this really very interesting in my undergraduate days when I discovered this. Whenever I wanted to, make edits on works, even my notes when I'm reading them back, I put some of these things to use. I put them to use. And on the other side of things is the house style. If you are familiar with Lasugong, a a newspaper published at LASU, I had the opportunity of leading the editorial board as a student back then, and then I established some standard of rules as the house style. And I believe even up to today, it's the last time I saw the last publication, some of those standards are still upheld. And the house style acts as the publisher's rule book. It removes the guesswork from language gray areas such as spelling variations, book of companies that publishes, the ways they reference, the styles, the citation approaches, and more. There is like a master rule that guides everyone to ensure that there's consistency. So enforcing strict consistency across every book is very important. Mastering these tools is your first major step towards professional editing. We will know professionals by their ability to use professional language. Professional marks are standard for clear editing communication. Our styles help us ensure consistency and professionalism. And I have a question for you, and I want you to answer this question in the chat. What proofreading mark did you find easiest to remember? Which one? Put it in the chat. Which proofreading sign did you find easiest to remember and why? If you don't have why, that's totally fine. Just put in the sign there. Which one do you find easiest to remember? All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Don't forget to do this. This is very important. Feedback. Scan the QR code. Give me some feedback. Scan the QR code. Give me some feedback. I'll stay here for a while to allow you to do the needful. Okay. If you have done that, you've done really good. And you haven't done that, it's all your choice. So now, thank you for being part of this lesson. I hope you've learned something new. If you have learned something new, please put it in the chat too. In our last lesson, we'll look at the basic manuscript markup and the art of the author's query. If you have questions, please do not forget to use the appropriate QR code to ask questions. And this is what it looks like. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next lesson. Bye bye.